Hi, I'm Paul Pierce, and I've got a story for you. There was once a tribe that lived around where the Springer Opera House is now, well before there were buildings, really well before the Muskogee Creek settled there or the mound builders before them. There was a unknown tribe of people. One of their stories has come down through time. There were two hunters in the tribe. Ugg and Og were what their names were. And they would get up in the morning and go hunting. One day, Ugg and Og were getting ready to leave, and they picked up their spears. And this little guy named Wugga Wugga decided that he wanted to go with them. And he begged them, please let me go. I want to go with you. And they were very, very annoyed at the little guy. And finally they relented. They gave in and said, all right, Wugga Wugga, come along. And they left their cave, which was in the general area, believe it or not, of where the Springer Opera House is today. And they went out, they headed toward the river, and what they didn't know was a saber-toothed cat had been tracking them. And they got up to the bluff about where Bibb City is now. And suddenly this saber-toothed tiger jumped out and jumped on top of Ugg and pinned him to the ground and began to claw him and scratch him. And Og, his hunting buddy, takes his spear and begins stabbing the saber-toothed cat, but he wouldn't let go. And suddenly the saber-toothed cat jumped on Og and began clawing and mauling him. And they were being torn up by this saber-toothed cat. But little Wugga Wugga, the little guy that wasn't really even a hunter, he picked up Og's spear and he jumped on the saber-toothed tiger's back and stabs it in the neck and killed the saber-toothed tiger dead. Well, the two hunters, Ugg and Og, got up and they thanked Wugga Wugga, and they laid out the saber-toothed tiger and skinned it. And they rolled up the skin and they took it back to the cave, which, as I said, was pretty much right where the Springer Opera House is today. And they got in there, and all of their family members saw the blood and the scars on them. And what happened? What happened? And they told the story about this saber-toothed cat that had jumped on them and how little Wugga Wugga saved their lives. Time goes by. Later that night, somebody says, tell the story again. Tell the story. And Wugga Wugga this time picked up the fur, the pelt, and put it over, and he started acting out the scene. He became the saber-toothed cat, and everybody screamed and yelled and ran, and he pulled the pelt back and said, no, wait, it's just me. It's just me. It's Wugga Wugga. I was just pretending. And everyone stopped and looked, and they laughed, and everybody had a good time, and once again congratulated little Wugga Wugga. Years, decades passed, and Ugg and Og and Wugga Wugga were old men, and people would still ask, tell the story again, and they would tell it, and they would take the fur, and they would take the spears, and they would act it out. And by this time, the play was looking really good. It had been rehearsed and performed many, many times, but soon, Ugg, Og, and Wugga Wugga, before long, like we all do, they passed away. They were gone. The people that actually lived the story were no more. But you know what? It didn't stop the tribe from telling the story. On feast days, somebody would take out the pelt, somebody would pick up the spears, and they would tell the story one more time. And entire generations would pass, years and decades and centuries would pass. And the tribe began to be known for that story. And people remembered it far, far into the future. You know, even today, if you go down under the Springer Opera House, there are rows and rows and rows of cabinets and shelves where we keep equipment and properties and objects that are important to us, essential to us as a theater. But if you go all the way down one of the aisles, at the very back, there's a dusty shelf. And if you turn to your right, there on a shelf is an old, rolled up piece of fur and 2 spears that are rolled up into the pelt. And there it is, the original saber-toothed tiger skin and Ugg and Og's spears. You see, we at the Springer, we are the people that keep the stories, that tell the stories, and preserve them. And after this emergency is gone, after this threat passes, we will still be there. We will be there for you, gathering around the campfire in our cave, telling the story with flickering light and the sense of magic in the air.
Because those people were here before us so that we can be here today. If we do our work well, others will follow. We acknowledge the present, we honor the past, and we salute the future.
Because we are the tribe of Ugg, Og, Wugga Wugga, and the Saber-toothed Tiger.